Please help me watch this.
Your Excellency, I said I'm not very good at reading speeches, and therefore I will leave this my speech. I don't know, I will give it to the President, but I have spoken my heart. I've finished what I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, why do you think Oburu Odinga abandoned his own speech, the written speech? Was it a health scare? Or was there any technical hitch that made it impossible for him to read that speech? Or was the script changed last minute? Because in the history of the Republic of Kenya, when we were just alive, we saw Raila Odinga at one point reading a speech which had been changed. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I want to reveal to you guys why Oburu Odinga stopped reading his own speech. Because Oburu Odinga is generally a very smart guy. Remember what he did during the ODM at 20 celebrations when he refused to eat the cake. Why do you think Oburu Odinga abandoned reading his own speech? That's exactly what I want us to analyze in this video. Before we do that, for those who are watching the channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, why do you think Oburu Odinga refused to read his own speech? Because from the speech which he just gave without reading, you could tell that Oburu Odinga is actually very smart.
It's going to be used for controlling floods which occur every year, and we regard it as emergency. It is emergency. How can something which occurs every year be regarded as an emergency? How is it an emergency? And you know it will come.
And personally, from the part of the speech he gave, I'm 100% sure that Oburu Odinga did whatever he did deliberately.
Compensation of life is not something which you can do. You cannot replace a life. You cannot compensate it. There's no cost to it. It is just to give some, to give some pole to the people who lost their loved ones. And if pole for those who were injured in those demonstrations. It is not to compensate. It is, even though we call it compensation, but you cannot compensate life. So,
but why do you think Oburu Odinga decided to stop reading the written speech? For me, several reasons. Number one, and I think this is the main reason, Oburu Odinga avoided reading controversial statement. We all know that in this country we have NIS. And Oburu Odinga had his speech. He sat with it, probably went through it. Then he realized that there are certain things in that document which were actually cooked, not his original document. And therefore, going ahead to read the entire speech was going to put him in a very awkward situation.
Your Excellency, I said I'm not very good at reading speeches, and therefore I will leave this my speech. I don't know, I will give it to the President, but I have spoken my heart. I've finished what I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
And normally it's normal in political environments for documents or some parts to be sneaked in. I don't know which constitution was this, which was being changed. And at the printer, a lot of changes were actually made. Full stop there, comma there. And in constitutional making process, that makes a huge difference. That makes a huge difference. So maybe somebody somewhere interfered with Oburu Odinga's original statement, which he had actually prepared to read. And therefore he said, okay, on this one, let me just give my speech, but I'm not going to read this particular one. I'm actually waiting for the media houses to release to us the original document which Oburu Odinga had prepared, to release to us this particular document which Oburu Odinga refused to read. That's number two. And I think sometimes we take certain things for granted. Maybe this particular statement was long. And with this age, probably he realized that if he were to read the entire speech, he was going to get exhausted and maybe collapse. He didn't want that kind of a situation. And for me, Oburu is very wise. He learned a lot from Raila Odinga. Let us agree that at his age, Oburu can read. In fact, Oburu Odinga is one of the few leaders at his age who can still read documents without putting on their glasses. Personally, I struggle a lot, but Oburu Odinga can read without struggling. But at his age, that's very risky if he's given a very long document. Assume a situation where Oburu Odinga is reading a document. Reading. Is he not talking? Reading a document for even 20 minutes. He can collapse. And assuming today Oburu Odinga read that document and he felt exhausted and maybe kind of, the situation, that would have been the headline. But Oburu Odinga, being a wise man, a wise old man, avoided all those. He said, my document, I have it. I'm not going to read it. Mr. President, I don't know whether to give it to you or whoever. Because Kenyans really wanted to hear Oburu Odinga's take, especially the written one. Number three, I think Oburu Odinga is very wise. That's why he has two wives. Yeah. Difficulty in reading. Most people have difficulty in reading. They can speak good English. They can write. They're very smart. But when it comes to reading, they have a problem. You remember what happened to the new ODM SG? Oburu Odinga avoided reading that long statement because he was going to struggle. So you'd rather not struggle, not read the document and not struggle, than read the document and struggle. Kenyans online can really do you bad. And that's exactly what Oburu Odinga avoided today. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to believe that Oburu Odinga also did not trust the document. I want to assume that he was given this document last minute because Oburu Odinga attended some event at his office, then went straight to this meeting and was expected to read a speech. So as usual, last minute document, you can't read. Yeah, so I think he avoided a situation where he was going to read a document which probably even the party itself has not gone through. So I want to hear from you. What's your take? Do you think Oburu Odinga was just cautious, or Oburu Odinga just didn't want to read the document? Let us read your comments below. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.